Nomi Rickbar reporting. Brad Sherman is a Democratic member of the House of Representatives from California and joins us now. Mr. Sherman, thank you very much for your time here on Newshour. A lot of commentators seem to think that it wasn't the disaster that some people feared it would be, the State of the Union address, but my goodness me, his approval ratings, the problem of his age, I mean, they still rank very, very high in voters' minds, according to the opinion polls.
He gave an outstanding speech. I think he put to the side this issue of whether he's too old. It was forceful, and his retorts when he was heckled were outstanding. Yes, our candidate is 3 years older than their candidate, but their candidate is 83 pounds heavier than our candidate. If I was an insurance agent, a life insurance agent, I would stay away from Donald Trump.
Yeah, I guess the problem for you is that you might think that he's terribly effective, and he's certainly not affected by his considerable age. The opinion polls consistently suggest that you're in a minority of those who are converted to the cause of Joe Biden. I mean, a vast majority of Americans think that he is too old to be an effective president. That's right now, let alone term number two. And that also includes a majority of Democrats.
That was yesterday.
Well, I mean, really? Do you think they're going to put that all to one side after one State of the Union address?
I look, one speech can only do so much, but I think this speech did as much as any speech could do. And I think results are going to be important. What's most important is does our economy get better over the next 6 months? Our stock market is predicting that. Economists are predicting that. And I think we're looking at another 4 years of President Joe Biden.
Despite the fact that he has the worst net approval rating, well, in fact, the highest disapproval rating of any president in modern history.
That is a trend that you've seen over the last 30 or 40 years, where every person and every institution has a lower approval rating. We're just an ornery people.
Well, he's an outlier in that.
No, it is a consistent trend. You'll see very low approval ratings for Obama at various times in his presidency, reelected by a large margin. And but the average approval rating of everything, from our military to our police to our religions to our bowling alleys, when you ask people, are you happy with something, the results are much worse now than they were 20 years ago.
Can I ask you about Gaza specifically, which is proving a problem for the president? Internationally, it's proving a problem, but also domestically in terms of his polling. His plan for these aid pontoons to get aid into Gaza, I mean, they won't be operational for a couple of months at best. He says Israel has, in his words, no excuses for getting more aid in. What's your view?
Well, I think, as you point out earlier in your program, the issue is not just how much aid gets in, but is it distributed in an orderly way? What really would bring relief to the people of Gaza is this 6-week ceasefire that Qatar and Egypt negotiated, that the whole world was ready to see happen before Ramadan. And the leaders of Hamas decided at the last minute to reject this. This 6 weeks would be enough to organize, to supply, to oversupply aid.
Yeah, forgive me for interrupting. The Israeli government decided that they weren't going to send negotiators at all to Cairo. They weren't going to take part in it. But President Biden's words were very, very clear on this. No excuses, he said. He wasn't saying it's contingent on a ceasefire. No excuses about the amount of aid that is getting in.
Clearly, everything should be done that can be done to bring aid into Gaza. But with the horrific situation of being a war zone, the ability to move that aid around, the ability to get that aid in, even with this port or pontoon, is going to be difficult. You've seen Egyptian drivers of the trucks pulled out of the trucks and murdered by gangs. What you need is this pause, and Israel accepted it as it was negotiated by Egypt and Qatar. Then when Hamas came up with a crazy ideas, Israel said, no, we have a deal. We were very close to a deal.
Brad Sherman, Democratic Congressman from California, thank you very much for joining us live here on Newshour. Much more to come in the next 30 minutes. Stay with us if you can.